What's going on, YouTube? Jake Userborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. That's right, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Batman Detective Comics issue number 1029. Wow, hard to believe they've done this many issues, and it's been over 1,000 since Batman first debuted. But anyways, the reason I started talking about Detective Comics today is a lot of people have been asking me to talk about it since I was covering the Teen Titans books, and since that series is ending next month, and they're going to pick up where Damian's story left off, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about him, starting with issue number 1029. Now, this issue was written by one of my favorite comic book writers, and that is Peter J. Tomasi. You may know him from writing, Batman and Robin. He did Superman Rebirth, and he did one of my all-time favorite, it pretty much is my all-time favorite comic book series, Super Sons. Now, Tomasi is, in my opinion, perhaps the best writer for Damian. Patrick Gleason comes up there. Grant Morrison's another one too. And I like what Tom Taylor is doing as well, but Tomasi is definitely like my personal favorite. I think he did a great job developing the character. Like him and Gleason as a duo worked really well. So yeah, we're going to kind of see where he goes from here, because if you look at the issue description, it talks about the aftermath of Joker War, City of Bane, all this other stuff. Basically, people in Gotham are tired of masks. There's a new mayoral candidate coming out who's going to try and outlaw masks. This is the introduction to a new villain known as the Mirror, who I'm kind of intrigued to see who it is. They kind of feel almost like a bit of a Hush / Red Hood type substitute in a way, but I don't think it's them. But as you can see the covers here, you got Red Hood there, you have the Robin mask that Damian wore. You see all this other stuff here, and then also the issue teases that Damian's going to show up in this thing. So, but he really doesn't do much until the very end. But we'll get to talking about that and just kind of my overall consensus of the issue itself. I think this issue in general was fine. Nothing really all that terrible. There are a few things that are still kind of irking me, but it's kind of an overall problem with the way things have been written in general. But I'm hoping the issue really after this kind of dives into some of the problems and actually acknowledges some of my issues I've had with the writing of Batman as of late. But I guess before I get into this, I'll talk about kind of like what I thought of Tomasi's run so far. Now, there isn't any real big overarching storylines in his Detective Comics stuff, but they've kind of been more like kind of standalone arcs per se. There's no big like long-term storyline. It's kind of just been like Batman just doing detective stuff and just kind of little mini arcs here, story arcs here and there, telling stories about Batman. I really enjoyed it so far. I think he took over like 900 issue 900 something, and it's been really good so far. And now he's been given the chance to try and hopefully fix the mess that Teen Titans did. But we'll go ahead and dive into this thing. So as the issue begins, we see this new character known as the Mirror. He's talking about the new mayoral candidate, Nakano, was damaged during Joker War. He made his debut a couple issues ago. I don't know if it was Joker War or if it was Detective Comics. I have to go back and look. But anyways, so he's talking about how masks need to be outlawed, even though he's wearing one himself. He just wants to mirror everything, and I like his design. I like the art style. I think that looks kind of cool. I don't know how he's able to do that reflective stuff, but as you can see, they got a bunch of masks on here. Looks like you see Batman there. There's this blue thing, which on the cover it was green, so I'm supposed to change things. But anyway, so he's there. He's trying to outlaw masks. Then we go to Wayne Manor, and as you can see, Bruce Wayne's going to have to move a lot of stuff out because he's going to start moving the city. He's lost most of his fortune, which is still bullshit. Like, why Lucius Fox doesn't give it back to him? It's not Lucius's money. It's Bruce Wayne's money. He should have it back. His money was stolen from him. Give it back to him. But anyway, so he's like, no amount of money lost would be enough to shut me down. No, Batman lives on. He's talking something about his black casebook back from the Joker. His work can continue uninterrupted. So there's this black casebook thing that's very important to him. It was referenced in Detective Comics 1027. Not too many details about it, but it seems to be like a really critical piece of information. And that's going to come and play a factor later on in this issue. So here he is. He's packing stuff up. Alfred stuff. He wanted to do it by hand. All right, Alfred. Can't keep things up any longer. And again, I like that he's still Alfred's death is taking a toll on him. But another thing that's going to kind of irk me a bit that I think would have been worth acknowledging this issue. So anyways, he kind of goes off. He's stopping some various goons. The Mirror comes in and kind of shoots him. So kind of reminiscent of Hush. I think the Mirror could potentially be a new identity for Thomas Elliot Hush. I don't know what Hush has been up to, but it seems like it could possibly work for him or be like somebody else entirely. I don't exactly know. I don't even know what Damian's role is going to be in this, but I kind of hope, you know, he isn't the Mirror. That would really kind of suck because I don't want him as a villain. But we'll see. Unmasked, we love you, Batman. So there's obviously some divide going on. Then we go to a yacht, or they're on a yacht right here. Bruce Wayne's at a thing where the mayoral candidate's there. He wants to outlaw masks. Then a bunch of criminals come in, try and abduct things and kidnap people and cause all sorts of chaos. Batman's doing his thing. And then Nightwing shows up. That's right, Nightwing is in this issue very briefly. Heard you're having a pirate problem. He comes in, saves the day. You see Nakano's got like his little eye patch. He's missing an eye as a result of Joker War. And that's it in terms of like Nightwing for this issue. And yeah, it's a very brief role. I don't know what Nightwing's been up to. Again, I'll kind of get to things like overall consensus in a second. But anyway, so we go back to Wayne Manor. A long day with loaded questions. What took the shot there? How quickly is unmasked forever going to grow in the streets? And a mayoral candidate, blah, 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 blah. So Bruce Wayne notices his chair has been angled. He realizes somebody's been in here and looking through the casebook, and he realizes it's been empty. This isn't the casebook. There's only one person other than Alfred who knew where this thing was locked. It looks like some vampire stuff right here and could get here undetected. What's your next move, Damian? So there we go. There's the first look at Damian and I guess his new get up here. It's very reminiscent of his first appearance type armor, or if you've seen Son of Batman, it's kind of like the black armor. So he's kind of get a bit of the Robin thing. He's got the hood right there and he seems smiling that he's kind of one-upped his dad per se. And then that's kind of where the issue ends per se. Now, I'm going to get into some little ranting, things I think would have helped this issue improve a little bit more. And also, another thing that's just kind of irritating me is, God, Bruce sucks as a dad. Like, Bruce Wayne right now is an absolutely terrible, terrible parent. Your son is out there all alone after all this traumatic stuff's happened, and you just don't really seem to acknowledge him until he takes something from you. Like, Batman was doing all this other stuff when this is clearly a big issue. Like, if my kid was out there all alone, like in a city, feels abandoned, traumatized, and all that other stuff, I know they did bad stuff, but if I were a parent, I'd be going like all in, trying to do everything I can to possibly like bring my kid back, because I don't want my kid out there all alone. You can imagine, this is freaking Gotham. I don't care if he was trained by the League of Assassins. I'm going out there to protect my kid. But there's been no acknowledgement of him at all in this issue until like something was taken from him. It's the only time Bruce seems to acknowledge that his son exists. Where is he? Why isn't he going all out like trying to save his son? And that's just been irritating me this whole time. Like, I mean, we had this stuff with City of Bane, where obviously Alfred was killed right in front of Damian, and Bruce was the one who sent him in, mind you. And after he sent him in, guess what? Alfred was killed right in front of him, and he blamed himself for it. Then we got to the Pennyworth RIP issue, and when Damian blamed himself, was really upset about it, he walked away from the meeting with the whole family, and nobody went to go comfort him. Barbara called out Bruce, and Bruce is like, he'll be fine. He knows where he can reach us. Very inconsiderate as a parent. So, yes, I'm kind of frustrated about that. And also, this is kind of a minor complaint, too, and I think would have actually helped the issue out a little bit more. Hopefully the next issue kind of dives into it, because earlier on in the scene where he's packing things up at the manor, I think it would have been a good way, because, like, a good thing to acknowledge, maybe like the still eating, maybe like his son kind of running out on him basically and having all that like drama and all that other stuff is still taking a toll on him. I think it would have been cool to actually kind of acknowledge that, maybe dive into that. Maybe Bruce is feeling all this guilt for being a really neglectful parent because his son needs therapy. And it's just really frustrating to see him just so inconsiderate, just doesn't seem to care about it at all until his little casebook story. He's like, I can still be Batman. I'm like, I understand being Batman. I really do. Like, Gotham City needs Batman. But you also have some family problems, some serious family problems going on at home. Why aren't you all in on this? Like, why aren't you constantly like, that should be your top priority right now, is getting your kid back. But Bruce Wayne just doesn't even seem to acknowledge it, like, at all. What about the rest of the Bat family? Where Nightwing shows up for a brief moment. There's no, like, moment of like, hey, I'm still out looking for him or anything. Does the family even care? That's kind of a gripe of mine. I'm really hoping that the next issue really dives into that more. Perhaps Bruce's guilt. Perhaps this is taking a toll on him and we're just not seeing it. But I really hope to see like him make an effort. For Christ's sakes, I want to see an effort made to be a freaking parent. That's all I want. Be a parent. Sure, yeah, he's going to face consequences for what he did based on all that terrible writing in the Teen Titans book. But at the same time, God, where is he as a parent? Like, he just views him as just kind of an enemy right here. So what's your next move? Again, it's not like I got to go find my son. It's just like he's just looking at him as another Rogues member. And by the way, a 14-year-old kid does not make for an imposing Batman villain. Again, if you're going to do this, at least wait till he's an adult or something. I don't like the villain route or even the anti-hero route, but a 14-year-old kid does not make for an imposing Batman villain. It just doesn't work that way. And all because Bruce has been an absolutely shitty father. But yeah, so I'm hoping, like, overall this issue itself, it's okay. It seems kind of like more of a setup issue for like the next big story arc that's going to take place over the next couple months. I think the mirror design looks actually pretty cool. I think the artwork is fine per se. When Bruce Wayne was doing this thing like wrapping up Alfred's stuff because he's going to go back into the city, he's like, that's not going to stop me from being Batman. But again, I really want to see this story arc acknowledge Bruce's problems being an absentee father and not taking responsibility, because oftentimes, like, he's usually just pawning his kid off on other people to look out for him. Like, he doesn't have Alfred anymore. He couldn't use Dick Grayson all the time. He actually has to step up and be a father, and it's just so infuriating that he hasn't done that. But I'm still intrigued where this is going to go. This mayoral candidate. I have faith that Tomasi will do well. I'm just kind of disappointed there's been no acknowledgement from any of the Bat family until Bruce's little casebook has been taken. That's the only time he's acknowledged what happened in Teen Titans. Again, Teen Titans has been a pretty bad book. There's no denying it. Most fans will tell you it's just really infuriating how much regression happened. But I just want more acknowledgement, and I want more acknowledgement of Bruce Wayne's faults and failures as a parent. I really want that addressed, and I want to see that worked on. I want to see something good here come from the storyline. There has to be a good payoff to this. Come on, like, there's got to be something. I mean, it's just been terrible for the past couple of years. There needs to be like a big, grandiose payoff to all this character regression, assassination, whatever you want to call it. There has to be a good payoff in it. And if anyone can make this work, I have a feeling Tomasi can. Again, I think this issue is fine. It's okay. It's definitely not the best work he's done in his Detective Comics run so far, but it feels more as a bit of a setup. So I'm just voicing my frustration about other things. I think this thing can work. Hopefully the next issue kind of dives into a lot of my faults. Again, there are certain areas I think it could have improved. The artwork I think is fine. I think it could have been a little bit better, but again, it works fine for the issue. Yeah, so those are my critiques in it. I don't really like the fact that Bruce Wayne, just seeing him just kind of like, what's your next move? He's like, there's no like, oh, I got to go out and find you. There's no sense of urgency to it. And that's just a little frustrating because it makes Batman look like a really shitty dad. Again, if you're a parent watching this video or have any kids and your son or daughter was out there all alone after all some traumatic stuff happens, like, you should be like making that your top priority to get your kid back. It just doesn't seem like any sense of urgency or like Bruce even cares until like his little casebook is stolen. And that's something that kind of irks me. I'm like, look, you have your son who's traumatized. You really should be out there like trying to help them, like superheroes should be doing. But I feel like parents at DC Comics have been like written so terribly for the past few years. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, even Superman, like, this isn't like, Superman was a great father figure in Superman Rebirth, and then all of a sudden that the Bendis thing came in and they made him out to be a really stupid parent, along with Lois Lane made it to a stupid parent. So the next thing I want to see DC Comics parents who are superheroes be written better, because it makes your characters look worse if they're not being good parents. So that's my main thing. Again, I'm just a little frustrated overall with a lot of things. I'm going to give this thing a chance, obviously, because Tomasi is one of my favorite writers at DC, arguably the best, considering the amount of great content he's put out over the past couple of years. So I'm going to give him a chance. Like, he's got a mess on his hands. He's got to fix it. But I still had some gripes with this. Overall, the issue's fine. Nothing great. Nothing bad per se. I just have some frustrations that I just want to see acknowledged in these books. So we'll just kind of wait and see where it goes from here. I'm looking forward to seeing this next arc. I want good things to come from it. I want a really good payoff, like, because they've literally spent the past 2 years destroying Damian's entire character in that awful Teen Titans book. And I'm just hoping that there's going to be a good payoff to all of that. There has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. There has to be a really good revolutionary moment in this whole thing. There has to be something good. You can't destroy that much if you're not going to have a good payoff to it. So please, give me something good. If anyone can do it, Tomasi can. So anyways, what are your thoughts on Detective Comics issue number 1029? Let me know in the comments section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends. We can discuss it further. What are you most looking forward to in the next arc? Are you disappointed by this issue? Do you think we're in good hands under Tomasi writing, assuming editorial lets him write something good, because he has written stuff good. He actually cares about the characters, like obviously cares about Batman, but he's done wonders for Damian's character. I just, like, if anybody can fix this mess, he can. Hopefully DC lets him. So that's my hopes for this thing. But anyways, that's all I got to say for now. Thank you all so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Please, fix this. You can do it, Tomasi. I believe in you. Yeah.